Hello everyone and welcome to my review of Super Mario Party. It's a game I got for Christmas on the Nintendo Switch and it's about met my expectations. It's a pretty fun game with a few limitations. That being said, there was still plenty of interesting minigames to go around, along with some neat graphics and some neat gameplay mechanics. So without further ado, let's get started with the review. Now, as I often do with these sort of games, I'll just start off with my thoughts on the character roster. It's not a very major part of the game, so I'll get through it quick. There are 3 new characters that were added to the Mario Party series in this game. Now there's the Goomba, you know I like him, Monty Mole, also pretty neat, and Pom Pom. I mean, it's better than Pink Gold Peach, so it gets a pass from me. The rest of the roster is pretty solid, and it includes a certain purple fella as well, so again, you know, it'll get a passing grade from me. I would have liked for it to include a sort of expansion like Mario Tennis Aces where they add a new character every month or something like that. But hey, maybe there'll be DLC of some sort, I don't know. In any case, this 20 character roster gets an A- from me. Okay, so now let's talk about a pretty important aspect of reviewing games. Gameplay. Does Super Mario Party do its job as a fun, casual party game where it's probably like 80% luck and 20% skill? Yeah, probably. To start the game, you're put in this neat little menu screen known as the Party Plaza, which essentially serves as your plaza for your parties. The main mode is obviously the Mario Party game board, of which there are 4 game boards. Come on, Nintendo. I get that they put a lot of effort into these boards, and they do look quite nice. I'll get to that more in the graphics section. But I think maybe 8 boards would have been a little bit more appreciated. 4 is just not enough, and it hurts the game's replay value. Now, what is interesting, and one of my favorite gameplay mechanics, is each character getting their own unique dice roll thing. They're all pretty balanced, in my opinion, and although there is a die roll tier list, yes, that's an actual thing, I don't notice a significant difference from what I've played. Of course, the goal is to use these dice strategically, but you oftentimes get screwed over anyway. For example, my man Waluigi has some pretty higher dice rolls, 2 5s and a 7, but I've gotten the side that reads -3 coins quite a few times. Too many times, I'd say. Well, you gotta risk it to get the biscuit. Everyone makes their roll, and thankfully, you don't make your way around the board with everyone on that stupid boat like in those other Mario Party games. And then once your turn is done, it is minigame time. And let's face it, the minigames are the truly fun part, so I'm glad they're put in after every turn. Now, the main goal of the board game is to, of course, collect stars. But the way you collect stars is often based off of pure luck. I know, that's a real shocker with this game. Luck is involved. Now, as you really just have to be in the right place at the right time on the game board. Of course, the character dice can help you out, but you'll probably get the -3 coin side, if you're me at least. So that's why I think some of the mini-games towards the end should be worth stars instead of coins if you win, as that will add some incentive to make the mini-games actually more valuable. I mean, if we give out stars for being the slowpoke and the most unlucky, can't we give out stars for actually winning mini-games? I mean, sure, you could end up getting the star at the end if you win the most mini-games, but that doesn't happen all the time. Okay, so now let's discuss some of those minigames. I've made a top 11 list of my favorite minigames from this game, so if you haven't checked that out, check it out after this video. I won't spoil anything major. What I will say, though, is that the free-for-all minigames seem to be generally better in this game. Sizzle and Steak, Spheremonger, Senseless Census, Gridiron Gauntlet, Looking for Love, Cruising for a Bruising, Trip Navigator, Follow the Money. There's a lot of good stuff here. Now, there are a lot of throwaway-ish minigames where you just shake the Joy-Con up and down. I'm looking at you, social climbers. But overall, I'd say the good outweighs the bad. The 2v2 and 1v3 minigames are also pretty fun, especially Dash and Dine. Now, I'm not the hugest fan of co-op minigames because this game is supposed to be like a competition, right? In the team minigames, that whole mass chaos idea kind of only works for Bumper Brawl, but the 50 combined minigames from the free-for-all 2v2, 1v3 section provide for some pretty entertaining interludes in your Mario Party. Or you could just play the minigames by themselves. That's also fun. In fact, it's kind of more fun. So anyway, that is the gameplay. Oh yeah, there's also River Survival Mode, whatever. Overall, I give the gameplay a B. The replay value might not be the best due to the lack of stages, and I seriously think there should be more opportunities to get stars when you're playing the Mario Party board and when you're playing the minigames towards the end there. But the vast majority of the minigames and the character dice rolls are dynamic elements of the game that truly make up for some of the shortcomings, so I like that. Now let's talk about one of the better aspects of the game, the graphics. While there's only 4 boards, each of them look very good. There's Womp's Domino Ruins, which is probably the least impressive looking one, but then there's King Bob-omb's Powder Keg Mine, which is pretty fiery looking if you know what I mean. The mine carts do give me PTSD though. There's Mega Fruit Paradise, where pipes help you warp to different areas around the sort of region, and then there's Comic's Tantalizing Tower, you gotta love that name. The graphics in the minigames aren't too over the top usually, but I think I can speak for everyone when I say that Sizzlin' Steaks looked real nice. And like I mentioned at the beginning, instead of a traditional menu, you've got a frickin' party plaza. So this game's graphics are truly better than what you might expect just a Mario spin-off game to be. I will give them an A. Now let's get to the music/sound effects. As you might expect, it was mostly pretty cheerful and upbeat tunes. After all, this is a party game. In fact, one of the only times I can think of when the music wasn't fast-paced was the whole Don't Wake Wiggler music, which only makes it more terrifying when he jump scares you, but whatever. I don't think the music added a whole lot to this game, but I don't think it really needed to. The game moves at a relatively fast pace, so it's hard to really get into a tune to jam to, when you're in like an adventure game and you're playing the same level and you're hearing the same music for like 5 minutes. That's not what you're doing here, so it's, kind of hard to find a song to jam to. Now, although like most Nintendo games though, the music is pretty freaking awesome. It's just, the menu music I should say. It's just a pleasant way of being greeted into the game. So overall, there wasn't anything super impressive about the music, but I don't think there needed to be. Now the sound effects, they're mostly also quite cheerful and fitting for the game. And maybe I have a case of schadenfreude, but I do enjoy how the characters react when they have coins stolen from them. So overall, I give the sound of this game a B+. And before I get to the verdict of my review, let's talk a bit about controls. The Joy-Cons do add an interesting dynamic to the game, and they kind of remind me of how the Wii remotes would work. Part of the reason the Switch and Wii sold better than the Wii U is that the controllers are just cooler. Now I would like it if I could use both of the Joy-Cons to control, as I've never been a big fan of just using one, but you'll get used to it eventually. Now this kind of has to do with gameplay and kind of controls, whatever, but I have a nitpicky gripe that I forgot to address in my good thing bad thing video. If you pick one of your dice versus the other, you can't press back on the controller to change your selection. You're stuck with it, and trust me, it screwed me over sometimes. I accidentally picked the wrong die, and then the game makes me want to die. Okay, it's just a joke. Anyway, whatever, let's get to the verdict. So overall, I give this game a 7.5 out of 10. The replay value, not the best with the aforementioned lack of game boards, but the minigames, the great graphics with this game do help it a bit. The character roster is solid. This game is solid. Not amazing, but solid, and I'd say it is worth picking up.